Hello everyone, welcome back. We have an NHL trade to discuss. There's been a big trade from around the NHL yesterday that we're going to talk about today, and that's between the Calgary Flames and Vancouver Canucks. The Whales are making moves as the Vancouver Canucks have acquired one of the top centers in this year's trade deadline class. We'll get to all of that coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the Internet Talker channel. Before we get into this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. Thank you for all of your support. I've never been able to with all of you guys, so don't forget to subscribe so we can hit 250 subscribers. And also don't forget to leave a comment down in the comment section below giving your opinion on all that was discussed in today's video. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. So today in this video, we've got a huge trade to discuss as the Vancouver Canucks and Calgary Flames for the second time this season have hooked up on a deal, and for the second time it's for one of the Flames' big pending UFAs. The trade is as follows. The Vancouver Canucks acquired Elias Lindholm from the Calgary Flames in exchange for 5 pieces, including Kuzmenko, D Brzustewicz, Jurmo, a 2024 first-round pick, and a conditional 2024 fourth-round pick. So there's a lot to unpack here. First, let's go with the Canucks side of things. This is a fantastic addition for the Vancouver Canucks. We know this team is really good this year. No one was expecting it. They're going really hard right now, and they continue to look like one of the best teams in the Western Conference, one of the better teams in the league, and they are currently tied for the league in points. They are trying to add as much as they can. Lindholm, who's a right-handed center, which is something they could definitely use. Really good defensive-minded center, a shutdown center, which is something they could also use. Can also put up points, which is another something they can use if they were to put the wall line together, or if they were to have Miller or Besser together and they wanted to have Pettersson play with a more better player. I think they could put Pettersson with Lindholm. That would be a fantastic place. At this point in time, according to a lot of sources, Lindholm has not been talking contract extension with the Canucks, so at this point in time, it doesn't sound like there's anything imminent there on the contract negotiation front. But it does sound like this could be just a rental move by the Vancouver Canucks. So it's going to be an interesting situation to watch out for. I have heard some people say that if Elias Pettersson were to somehow wind up being dealt, then maybe this is some sort of Elias Pettersson insurance, and if Pettersson does wind up getting moved, they can have Elias Lindholm as their top line center. So it's going to be an interesting situation to watch out for. I don't expect Pettersson to get moved, but I think this is a really good pickup there for the Canucks. He's a right-hand center. He can be their fantastic 2C in Vancouver. He can play a shutdown type role. He's a very good two-way center. He's been nominated for a Selke a couple of times, so there's definitely a really good fit there in Vancouver. So far this year, he hasn't had the best of offensive productions. So far, having 9 goals, 23 assists, 32 points in 49 games. Now, a lot of people will say that he's sort of past his prime, given the fact that he's declined over the past couple of years. I will say that he has declined. But you gotta remember, his career high in point total was 2 years ago when he had 42 goals, 82 points in 82 games. He was a point per game player. He had over 40 goals. You gotta remember, he was playing with Gaudreau and Tkachuk on that line, where Gaudreau and Tkachuk were both also over 40 goals, and they both had 100 plus points. So you gotta remember that those two guys really helped Lindholm be a fantastic point producer. Since then, last year he didn't have too much of a drop-off, only going down at 64 points. This year he's on poise to hit less than 64 points, so definitely not overly ideal if you're a team like the Vancouver Canucks or want someone else. If you want to pay a high money for a top-end guy like Lindholm, but this is a fantastic fit in my opinion. I think they need a right-hand shot center. They get one. They could have used a 2C, whether it's behind Miller or Pettersson as your 1C. They get that. Lindholm can play two-way games, so you got a shutdown player who can definitely help. I think he could fit really well with Ilya Mikheyev, in my opinion, maybe with someone else. So that could be a very fantastic job, and it gives you a lot more options. The offense is a lot more versatile. I've seen some people say maybe they go out and acquire one more forward because they do have a little bit of cap space now. Another thing that happened with this deal is because they traded Mikheyev and they got Lindholm back, not only do they save $650,000 for this year, which means they could go out after and make some more moves, given the fact they now have a little more cap space to work with, but on top of that, they freed up $5.5 million off cap space for next year too. So this team has a little bit more cap flexibility now, not only for this year, but for next year too. This is a fantastic move, in my opinion, for the Vancouver Canucks. It's not an overly egregious price tag. Sure, you don't want to lose guys like D Brzustewicz in the first-round pick, but given what you got and given the sort of asking price that they were able to get for Elias Lindholm, fantastic pickup in my opinion for Vancouver Canucks. Just absolutely fantastic. This is going to be a fantastic addition. Could this make the Canucks a really good team in the West? I think this could make them one of the top top end teams in the conference, I think, very likely. I mean, you got Colorado, Dallas, and Vegas, who are all pretty good teams in that division. You also got Winnipeg and Edmonton, who have looked pretty good this year. I think Vancouver's thrown into that mix and probably put at one of the top 2 positions. I think they could down Colorado and maybe Vegas and Dallas could all really do some really bad damage at this point in time in the playoffs. So it's a fantastic pickup, in my opinion, for the Canucks. Pending UFA, not sure if he's going to resign or not, but they get pending UFA and Elias Lindholm. They save some cap space money so they can go out and maybe make another move, which is very, very likely. We know that Jim Rutherford, the way he runs his operation, he always winds up going after players that he likes way before a trade deadline. This sort of fits his mold. So very good pickup there for the Canucks. Now they have a 2C behind either Miller or Pettersson, whoever they have as their 1C, and they have a shutdown center who can definitely work in some of those shutdown roles. So very good pickup there for the Canucks. Meanwhile, for Calgary, they have a ton of pieces that are going their way. Now, it's not overabundance of high-level talent and stuff like that, but they do get a couple of really good things. First, Andrei Kuzmenko. Now, so far this year, Andrei Kuzmenko hasn't fit well in the Rick Tocchet system. He's a good player. I think he can get back up to what he was last year. He was a 39-goal scorer, almost a 40-goal scorer in his first career NHL season. He put up 74 points in 81 games last year with the Canucks. Looked fantastic. This year, he's had trouble in getting games. He's been healthy scratched a couple of times. Has 8 goals and 21 points in 43 games this year. Just was not fitting into the Rick Tocchet system. Doesn't really fit that sort of a mold that Rick Tocchet likes, the sort of players that he likes. So it didn't really fit overly well with Tocchet. So I can see why they would move him, given the fact he's not fitting in well. He's being healthy scratched a couple of times. If you can have a chance in upgrading that second line center position and get a shutdown center like Lindholm, I think you trade Kuzmenko, who's not fitting in overly well, every day of the week. Now for Calgary, this is another young forward who's going to be going there. It's not an overly young forward, but we know that this team wants young forwards. They acquired Sharangovich last year for Toffoli. While Kuzmenko is a little bit more on the older side of things, he's still a little bit of a younger forward and is still relatively new to playing in the NHL level. So I think this is going to be a fantastic pickup for the Flames. Now, this also does make a couple of things for our Flames. They now have 3 big pending UFAs, not for this offseason, but for next offseason. Igor Sharangovich is having a fantastic first season in Calgary. Andrew Mangiapane, who continues to be a really good goal scorer for the Flames, and now Andrei Kuzmenko are all going to be UFAs at next year's trade deadline. So if the Flames are still going through some things, and those 3 guys, any of those ones don't want to sign extensions with the Calgary Flames, there's a very likely chance that those 3 guys could all be moved at next year's deadline. So we'll have to wait and see. But I can see Kuzmenko be a fantastic middle 6 forward for the Flames. Maybe play with guys like Huberdeau or Kadri or someone like that, maybe Mikael Backlund. I could see him regain his sort of 30-goal form in Calgary. So I'm not going to say he's going to hit 30 goals this year after his poor play at the start of the season, being healthy scratched a couple of times. I think it's very unlikely. But this is a very good pickup for the Flames. And if he can find his form from last year, this will be a fantastic addition for Calgary. And if he doesn't find his form that he had last year, then the Flames can always retain some money and trade him either next offseason or at the deadline. It's very likely. So this is a very good pickup there for the Flames. They make the money work, but it's also a good young forward, a former 39-goal scorer. And if they can find a way to get him going, this could be a very fantastic pickup there for the Flames. On top of that, they get 2 prospects. One not overly huge. One's a pretty significant one. First, Jurmo, 2020 third-round pick. At this point in time, doesn't look like he'll amount to very much of anything. He's, like I said, a really good middle-end prospect for the Vancouver Canucks. He's definitely fell a lot on the depth charts. He doesn't have an ELC so far at this point in time. He's only put up 4 points in 34 games over in Liga. There's a very likely chance, and I've seen a lot of people say this, that Jurmo probably doesn't amount to anything. I could see him at the very most become like a 6th, 7th defenseman at the NHL level. So it's not a huge prospect for the Canucks to give up. Maybe in the Calgary Flames system, he gets into the AHL. He does some really good things. Maybe he can eventually be an NHLer, but I think it's very unlikely at this point, and Jurmo will probably just be a good prospect that maybe winds up turning into something, but probably doesn't. The bigger prospect that they are able to get is D Brzustewicz. Now, this is a fantastic addition for the Calgary Flames. Brzustewicz was a 2023 third-round pick, so a third-round pick last year's draft. A lot of people thought he was probably going to go in the 2nd round, but he wound up falling into the Canucks' laps in the 3rd round. So far this year, in the Kitchener Rangers of the OHL, he's leading defenseman in points in in the OHL. He's put up 8 goals and 69 points in 47 games after having 57 points in 68 games last year. He's smashed last year's point total out of the water. He looks absolutely fantastic. Now, is that going to translate to NHL level success? We don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it will. Hard to tell at this point in time, but he looks like a really good prospect. It's not a top tier level prospect, but it's a pretty good B level prospect if I'm correct. And I think Brzustewicz has the potential to be a solid 4th, 5th defenseman at the NHL level. I think he'd definitely be a solid second pair D at the NHL level in time. Probably still 2 to 3, maybe even 4 years away from competing for an NHL roster spot, but I think in time he could be a fantastic top 4 defenseman for the Calgary Flames. So it's not a really good, great level prospect. Like, they weren't able to get like Karamaki or Willander from Vancouver, but this is a pretty good prospect. He's leading the OHL in scoring, and if he can amount to that at the NHL or AHL level, I think he should be a fantastic offensive D at the NHL levels as possibly a top 4 defenseman. This is a fantastic pickup for the Calgary Flames. It's not a huge pickup, but it's a very good pickup, and it adds another young D prospect to their prospect pool. And then they also get 2 draft picks. So the first round pick is a 2024 pick. It's not conditional, so wherever the Vancouver Canucks 2024 first round pick winds up, they give it to Calgary. So Calgary now has this year's first round pick for them, plus this year's Canucks first round pick. So it's a really good pickup there for the Flames. And on top of that, they get a 2024 4th round pick that's conditional. The condition is if the Canucks reach the Western Conference Final, the Flames 2024 4th round pick upgrades to a 2024 3rd round pick. And if the Flames retain the 2024 1st round pick, so the Canucks don't make the Western Conference Final, then the Calgary Flames get the higher of the 2 2024 4th round picks that the Vancouver Canucks have this year, which is the Devils and their own. So it's going to be an interesting situation to watch out for. I love this deal for both sides. For Canucks, they have to give up a couple of decent pieces. You don't want to really give up Brzustewicz. The 1st round pick is definitely going to be costly. Kuzmenko fit in really well last year. You don't really want to see him move on, but still, adding Elias Lindholm, who's going to make that top 6 hugely better, who's going to give them a top 6 shutdown center, a right-handed center. Very good stuff there for the Canucks. This is a huge pickup, and I love this pickup for the Canucks. For Flames, they get a lot of pieces. They get a huge package with a ton of value. Maybe not, but they do get a fantastic return. A 1st round pick, probably going to be within like pick number 25 to 32 in this year's draft. So you're probably going to have a pick somewhere around there. So it's not going to be a huge pick of this year's draft, but you're able to get another 1st round pick, which is always great, especially when you're moving a really good player like Lindholm. You get a 3rd or 4th round pick, whichever one of this year's draft. So it's a good mid-level pick. So you get a 1st round pick, a mid-level pick, a low-level prospect. I don't think Jurmo will probably amount to anything. Maybe a low NHL defenseman, but I don't expect him to be amounting to anything. They got a very fantastic prospect in Henry Brzustewicz. In time, will be a solid top 4 D for the Calgary Flames, and will be a fantastic D prospect for the Flames right now. And they get Andrew Kuzmenko, who will be able to fit in that lineup. If he can find some 30-goal form, he should be a fantastic fit for the Flames. And then at the next year's trade deadline, they'll have to make a decision on whether he's staying long-term with the Calgary Flames, or if him, just like Mangiapane and Sergei, are possibly going to be trade chips in next year's trade deadline. So it's going to be an interesting situation to watch out for, but this is a great move. Flames get a middle 6 forward, a really good prospect, a decent prospect, a 1st round pick, and a mid-level draft pick for Elias Lindholm, who's going to make the Canucks a top 6, an extremely better team. And I think this move may wind up making the Canucks one of the favorites to come out of the West. I think it's very likely that the Canucks are now probably going to be one of the favorites to make the Stanley Cup final out of the Western Conference. It's going to be an interesting situation to watch out for. Lindholm was number 1 on my trade bait boards. Now he's off, so I guess for a time being, until I make my new trade bait board, hopefully in the next week or two, Hanifin will now be number 1 on my trade bait board. So it's going to be interesting to see, but that's a fantastic addition there for Vancouver Canucks. Last year, way before the trade deadline, at the All-Star break, the Canucks moved Bo Horvat to New York to sort of get that ball rolling there for the Vancouver Canucks and sort of get Horvat moved. There was a lot of talk that Horvat was going to get moved, and he wanted to get moved to the Islanders just before the All-Star break. And now, just before the All-Star break, instead of moving a top 6 center, they get a top 6 center in Elias Lindholm. And we don't know if he's going to sign or not, but for the time being, he's a rental, and it's a great pickup there for the Vancouver Canucks. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on all of this down in the comment section below. What do you think about this trade? Did the Canucks win by acquiring Lindholm? Did they give up too much? Did they give up just enough to get Lindholm? Definitely love to hear your thoughts on that. For the Flames, did they get a really good return Kuzmenko re-sign his form in Calgary? Does Brzustewicz eventually be a top 4 defenseman? Is a 2024 first round pick going to be able to get them anything? Definitely. Love to hear your guys' thoughts on who you think won this deal. Did the Flames win it? The Canucks win it? Down in the comment section below, or is it a win-win deal? Definitely love to hear your guys' thoughts. But that's what I'm going to talk about for today. Remember to like this video, and if you're like, remember to subscribe down below. Thank you for all your support. I'll never be able to without you guys. So don't forget to subscribe. So we're 250 subscribers. Also a blog talking about news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that. So definitely check that out. I'll link in the description below. Don't forget to stay tuned. Trade season's now begun, and then after the All-Star break, there's going to be a ton more trades coming. So definitely don't forget to stay tuned and keep up to date with my latest news videos and game review videos that I post over the next little while. See you guys soon.